despite despite my ways and my bullshit, he listened about 47% of the shit I told him.
About 47.
And yeah, about 47%.
That seems low.
And he actually does. His fiance, you know, compared to that first girl, rest her soul, I'm not gonna talk bad about her, but she was a little sideways. But he picked a good one. He picked a good one to get married to. So he be married in a year and a half.
Oh wow, man! Damn, congratulations, man. That's what's up, bro.
That's dope.
Shit, don't congratulate me. I didn't do shit.
Well, yeah, you did.
You said, hey, we'll tell you what you did in a second. We just went live. I just want to go and get this thing kicked off because this is what we do. We might as well do it on the record and might as well do it while we came to do it and how we came to do it. Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is Rob, aka Skinny Black, the proprietor here of Skinny Black's Lounge. Thank you for coming through. We got a special guest here today. We have maybe a couple of special guests, but definitely we got the main course right here. My man, we'll let him introduce himself in a second. But let me lay out the framing of this conversation after we get into the sucker shit. So as we do right about this time, sucker shit.
I was thinking.
Uh-oh.
I was thinking about the complexity and power of the English language.
Okay.
Because I was having a conversation with my daughter and I was trying to explain something to her, but she was taking the words a different way. See, because if you really know the English language, one word could mean multiple things. So, like park. You park the car, or you go to the park and go on the swings or go play. One word means two different things. Season, winter, spring, summer, fall, or what white people don't put on their food.
True.
Band, wedding band, right? It means some jewelry, or the real reason why black people go to a HBCU football game.
No doubt.
Right? Now, but I was thinking you need, like, some words need to be differentiated. You can't use the same thing to describe something that's totally opposite, even though the outcome is the same. Let me explain. See, we in LA, and I'm a Dodger fan. I was thinking, man, I'm watching these guys, man. They done played their whole lives, man. They get up. It's the World Series. 2 men on, and they strike out. Now, this man has trained since he was 7 years old to get in this position. And, he gave his best effort, and he didn't succeed. And they say he failed miserably. See, the key is miserably. Right? See, you need another description for somebody that's just fucking up. Because they failing too, but they not failing miserably. So what I want to introduce to y'all is failing splendidly. Let me give you an example. I was in high school, and in order to graduate high school, and this is LA City Public School, so it wasn't a high threshold to graduate. You had to take a senior composition class. I was on the basketball team. The teacher was the head coach of the women's basketball team. In order to graduate, well, first of all, you didn't have to turn in no assignments the whole year. You had to turn in a 3 to 5 page, tight, double-spaced essay in a folder, and you could graduate. Any topic, anything, as long as it was 3 to 5, space typed, in the folder, right? When I tell you, you could have wrote the lyrics to your favorite rap song, typed it in, She'd have gave you a C minus. You would have graduated.
That's one of them athlete classes.
Yeah, hey man, everybody, all the homies in the class.
Yeah, already know.
We in there, right? Hey, everything, softball, nigga, kickball, everybody in that motherfucker.
Already know.
My boy come in on the day we supposed to turn it in. He pulls out 2 sheets of paper crumpled up in his pocket and starts ironing them out on the desk. And I look and I was like, what you doing? He's like, this is my essay. And it was in pencil. He had wrote it in pencil, didn't have no folder, and had crossed stuff out. It was in pencil, nigga. You didn't even erase that shit? That's what I call failing splendidly. You was proud to fail that day in high school. You might have lied to your parents when you were home, say you couldn't walk, but all of us in that classroom watch you fail splendidly. I'll give you another example. I believe in grading on the curve. So last time I checked, and Google updates a lot because this shit, Future has 9 children by 9 women. Side note, he had 3 in 2019. It was a busy year for that man.
Wow.
Lord.
Future, and I'm grading on the curve. Future and any woman past baby mama number 3 fell splendidly.
Yeah, man.
Because Future knew he was fucking up, but after 3, you could see the pattern.
Yeah, bro.
You failing splendidly, niggas. You on some sucker shit.
Once again, I did not see that coming.
Did
I? Yo, we in the house now for sure. Yo, what's up? Once again, Skinny Black, the Skinny Black's Lounge. We're gonna do a round of introductions. If I point, it might be different on your screen. I'll just say we'll start with JT.
This fool. JT, the period is silent. Hi, mom.
Cool. Miguel.
What's up, y'all? This is Miguel Perla of the Gateway Project of Polaire Consulting. And I got enough of my 2 little ones that keep me busy as heck. Like 3 and 5. So
God bless you.
Good luck with that. Cool. Thank you. Keith.
Yes, sir, man. Keith, man, known these brothers, man, for over 25 years at this point, man. And we've had a lot of enlightening and conversations that I've been enlightened on with these brothers, man. So glad to be on here and to participate in this and, hopefully provide some enlightenment for someone outside of our circles, man. We've been witness to some crazy and some great conversations, man. So I'm happy to hopefully, bring some of these, to the audience out there as well.
Dope. Thank you. And bro, it's 30, bro. It's been 30 years.
Yeah, that is.
I think we met you right after we crossed, man.
Bro. Yeah,
it's 93.
That's back when we had the Mac on VHS playing it over and over again at the apartment.
You're absolutely correct.
True story.
Hey, what my man Earthquake say? These ain't jokes.
No, bro. True story.
So let's kick off let's get into it. The beautiful thing is the other day, Keith, you really sparked us off. The other day you shared a photo of your dad, and we gave some reflections of some things, some gems that he had dropped on you, and just that whole process of being a son and being a young teen and then growing into manhood. and how those words of wisdom either hit at the time or hit later or didn't hit at all. But the reflection was just good, pouring out respect and reverence, that photo and reflection that you sharing that photo happened, kicked off with our group that we're all in together. And just so happened later on that day, our man David, he ain't on here now, but I'm gonna talk about him since he ain't here. He called me that same day with his own reflections about what he was going through as an adult male, and seeing his father at his later stage in life, and what that meant to him, and what he was going through, mentally, emotionally, and just having to wrap his head around, wow, this is absolutely a different dude than I grew up with, right? And so all of us on this screen right now have had different experiences and level of engagement with our dads, from and Leland was in. I talked to Leland, the Lebo. He's actually came back from the ghost, and he wasn't a ghost that day. And we talked, and he was sharing. He said something.
Seance with him.
He said, I know, like, and he had said something that out of these 30 plus years of friendship that I'd never heard him say. I'd never heard him talk about the fact that his father never took a vacation, so his dad was always at home. And I was like, wow, that's not just at home, that's at home, right? That's consistency in its own way in itself. And just thinking about the different levels of engagement that we've had, even on this screen, of our dads, from that every day to and folks to share theirs in their own experiences. I don't have to say it here now. And everything in between, to not being around and everything in between. And so looking to have a lively conversation, and where brothers can share their reflections about their fathers. Like, how was it growing up, and how those lessons of how you engage with your father shape you as a man who you are, husband, father, etc. So I'm actually going to pass the mic to you, Keith, and let you start it off.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, so I'll explain kind of how that conversation started. So first of all, my dad passed away 25 years ago, and I just so happened to come across a picture of him in my phone. And, I'm smart or silly enough to have a 3-year-old daughter at this age. And so showing them to her, and then it really, really this flood of emotions hit me, man, about like how much I learned from him, how thankful to him I am, because like he shaped my entire way of thinking. And I always say, for people that are sports fans out there, being a dad is like being the quarterback, but getting offensive line credit, And so for people who aren't sports fans, what that means is when next time you see a quarterback throw 2 or 3 touchdowns or 4 for some crazy performance, or you see a running back have a crazy performance, they were only able to do that because the offensive line did their job. They protected them. They made holes for the running back. They allowed the quarterback enough time, but they might mention it, as an afterthought, but it's always the glory goes to the individual player. And that's kind of like what being a dad is like, right? Because it's like you're setting all this stuff in motion, you're supporting the family, but when people get on TV, they say, "Hi, Mom." Right. And it's not a competition, but it's like you rarely see somebody say, "Hi, Dad." And even now it's like I'm thinking back, and all this time later, it's like, oh damn, man, like he told me this, he told me that, but at the time when I'm young, I'm like, man, this motherfucker, I've probably been busting my balls, like, this motherfucker's telling me about this, he told me about that. And when I think about it, like my dad was so far ahead of his time. He was talking about stuff that didn't happen until 10 years later, 20 years later in some cases. But I think a lot of times to be a good dad is to be misunderstood, because what you're doing as a father is like, you should don't do this, do that. You're trying to kind of direct traffic. And the other thing is good dads show love, and sometimes it's nurturing like a mom, but especially with boys, that nurturing looks different. It sounds different. It feels different. Sometimes you got to tell a boy, like, man, you fucking up. You need to stop this shit. You need to do that. You need to do this, especially as because it's like their moms are going to tell them, oh, honey, like the nurturing part is for the mom, but it's like they need to hear a strong, and that was my dad. My dad was like, man, you need to get your fucking hustle on. You need to be out here cutting lawns. You need to be starting your own business. I'm like, Dad, I'm 12 years old.
So?
He was like, man, and guess what? From an early age, I was cutting lawns, cutting hair in the dorm rooms. I always had a hustle going on. At this point, I've owned my own business for 17 years, but those were seeds that he was planting in me as a kid. My dad told me when I was 14, first time I talked to a girl, you know what happened? We were in a car. I'm with my dad. Some girls wave. My dad waves back at them, and he's like, I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Pulls over the car. He like, go talk to him. I'm like, no. He's like, get your ass out the car and go talk to him. From that point on, I was not as afraid of talking to girls. You know what I'm saying? So it was like he forced me into so many situations where I was uncomfortable, or he would say it in a way that maybe I didn't like, but it's like all these years later, it's like, when I'm talking to dudes when I'm 22, like, man, you scared to talk to girls? Like, bro, I've been talking to girls since I was 14 years old. You know what I'm saying? But it's only because of him. You scared to start your business? Man, I've been hustling since I was 12 years old, And so a lot of times fatherhood is, we mistake, like, my dad was like a hard man. My dad was from Alabama, He didn't even finish high school, but he listened to the news every day, listened to something educational. So he was very worldly. And it's like, sometimes we don't appreciate it because of the way that the message sounds, but the messenger was sent straight from heaven, man, straight up.
Woo, that was dope, man. That's a great way to start us off. Anybody can jump in. Miguel, you want to hop in?
Sure, man. That's interesting. You mentioned your pop's been gone for a couple of years, 25 years. That's a pretty long time now.
Yeah.
My father also transitioned in like 2004. And I was actually thinking about it earlier today. He was about 63. So I don't got that many more years till I'm going to reach that age that he was at, right? And and it's almost like, I trip out how I almost been alive longer than he's been. Like I've almost been alive without him almost as much as I was with him, right?
Yeah.
But I always think back and really just honor and think back. I hear his voice in my head. I was telling Rob earlier, man, I think I got a better relationship with him now than I did back then. Because I understand him more. I understand where he's coming from now as the father of two little ones. Man, I can hear him laughing at me sometimes when they're doing their wild shit at home, or I think it's important because I had that foundation of the work ethic, a man who would come to this country. He was the 8th or 9th of his brothers and sisters, the only one that studied, the only one really that didn't necessarily live off the land by farming or agriculture, but he actually went to the city and studied and eventually came to the United States. worked, blue collar, at a phone company job for a long time. I'm glad he took some vacations. He didn't take many, but he did take some vacations, and I'm happy he did. He had to reconnect with the motherland. He would go back and see his family, see his folks, see his friends. And I think, I'll say this after 21 or so years that he's been gone, I think I understand him more. I honor his sacrifice, and in many ways, I don't think he was not entrepreneurially minded, but in many ways, because I saw them working, 9 swing shift or hours that really confined them to certain times a day. I think that really helped me to want to have my own business and have more flexibility in my life. So I do also even think that influenced it. But no, I think it's like an evolving relationship with one's father, with the spirit of them in this case. And I know I'm not doing a perfect job, but I'm hoping that I'm trying to carry on the good stuff and also adapt and change in those areas where maybe where he fell short a little bit. Just given how fast things move and how, man, we're in a different place. We got to upgrade our skills at times and do things differently. But hopefully, the base is strong enough. We still have some good foundations from what our fathers left us, because we're blessed to have those folks in our lives.
Wow, dope. I love that. Want to welcome David into the lounge, but before I let David go, hop in. I think Miguel words is a good segue to JT. Man, hop on in here.
Well, first of all, I appreciate all you guys sharing. I told Keith when he shared pictures of his dad. I put in our group chat. I was like, I'm jealous, because that's just an honest thing that amongst the guys, because my parents. I used to tell the story that my parents were divorced when I was 8 months old, and this year my mother corrected me and she told me I was 2 months old, as if that 6 months made a difference. But it's like she was on one that night. But my father passed away, and I gauge his passing by the ages of my children. So my son is now 28. My son was in high school when my dad passed. And that's my frame of reference, because we didn't have a relationship. Right? When my dad passed, I took my kids to my aunt's house because my dad was in Oklahoma, but they had a repass. We'll call it a repass in the backyard. No, we ain't gonna call it a repass. It was really Def Comedy Jam, the way that was going down. But a whole lot of family, people I didn't know, and from that day sparked me reconnecting with my father's side of the family. And I have literally learned everything that I know about my father since after he passed. Wow. So when he was alive, being angry at him was my fuel. And since he's passed, understanding him has been my fuel.
Wow.
And there's been so many things that I've learned about him that like make you shake your head. For example, I come from a sports family, but mainly football. College athletes, couple pro athletes, all football. And I was better at football, but I gravitated to playing basketball. Well, I found out that my father was an all-city basketball player.
Wow.
because my mother is 5 foot nothing. Well, my dad was 6'3". Right? I didn't get to 6 nothing, but I love basketball. Right? When I got older, I love to cook. Right? My father was a cook in the Navy. See, what I learned after his passing is you can have animosity, but the DNA is the DNA. And if you don't, regardless of the type of man anybody's father is or parent is, if you don't do the research and you don't get to understanding, then you won't understand yourself because it's in your blood. It is literally in your blood.
Yeah,
right?
I totally agree.
And I have learned so much more about myself through him that I can say now, as a damn near close to being an elder when my son makes me a grandfather, that my daughter's always on my mind. My father, whether he planned to do it or not, has taught me a ton of life lessons.
Wow.
And that's a blessing. So I hold zero animosity, and I used to hold a lot. I hold no grudges, and he's the only person that I can say that I.
That you what? You cut out.
Yeah, you cut out. Yeah, he said only person
you left us in suspense.
Cliffhanger. Join us on the next Skinny Black Wells.
Join us next week. Same bat time, same bat time. Hey, did we lose you, Jay?
Oh man, maybe.
Okay. Maybe we lost him for a second.
Perfectly, though.
I know, right? Hey, wow, that was your opportunity right there.
When he come back in, we'll he's gone. Okay.
He's gone.
We'll
stay
let him
tuned next
finish
week to hear the rest of what JT was saying.
Exactly. The only man he ever loved. Okay, so
right.
Liked.
Oh, there you go. He's back.
Hey man, listen. I was in the middle of my Easter speech.
We had lost.
God was like, "Hey man, you get too emotional."
Hey, but you still got to tell us the only man you ever.
Well, say that again. I'm sorry.
Like
that's where you stop.
The only man you ever, and then you cut off.
I was saying that he's not the only man, but just let me correct that. He's the only person that I have never known that I love.
Oh, got you. Yeah, that was. You went to the bottom of the ocean on that one. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I never, 30-something years, and that's that reflection right there. This first time you probably said that. Thank you. Appreciate you.
And let me ask something real quick.
Yeah.
Just before, because I know David hasn't gone yet, but because I've had 2 different fatherhoods. I got 2 kids. I have 2 different versions of being a dad. But one thing that I realize is, see, when you hate your parent, you hate yourself. And that's what a lot of parents don't realize. That's what a lot of people don't realize. When you hate your mom, you hate yourself. When you hate your dad, you hate yourself because they are a part of you and you are a part of them. So when you have hatred towards a parent, it's a form of self-hate, which is why in order to be at peace, you have to forgive them, you know. But that's the only point I want to add, man, because a lot of times it gets lost on folks.
Yeah. David, thanks for that. That's a great addition. So David, so we had a conversation and you were sharing about, your reflections with, seeing your father, the arc of the span of going from, as a young boy to a teen to a young adult to now to where he is at his stage of life, and just offering you and give you the opportunity to just share your reflections and share your thoughts on.
Yeah, I mean, I've been blessed to still have pops, 80, 83, right? And I'm 53, right? So the arc has been crazy and it's been amazing, and it's been a blessing to have that sort of reflection, right? Where the person that fixed everything, figured out everything, and now that role is reversing, right? And he still has fight. He still has fight. His mind is still sharp, but his body, right? His body, like he fell the other day, and he's okay, but he's like he wanted to get better so he can go take his driver's license test because he's still trying to get that driver's license renewed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that you fight with, that I fight with, is the component of looking after him, and this is like, no, you shouldn't be driving, right? But at the same, it rubs up against too. You never told Dad what to do,
right?
Yeah,
the roles have switched.
The roles have switched,
yeah.
Right? And it's hard. And I think that for me, it's been kind of like three stages, and the first stage is up to a little, being a little boy. Dad fix everything. It's like Dad fixes it. We called him MacGyver because he could do wonders with a rubber band and a paper clip. Throw that in the car engine and make it work, right? And he, always figured it out. And then as a teenager, you get all that bass in your voice, and you get all swole up in the chest, and now you're checking, right? You're challenging. Man, this guy don't know what he's talking about. I know what I'm talking about, right? And it's that challenge. Only one lion in the den, and so having that experience, and it sort of escalated once I graduated from college and I moved back home. Like, I had my own set of opinions. I had my own sort of thoughts on what the world should be and how things should be running, and so we bumped heads, and that led to me finding a way, a soft landing for me to move out of the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's reflective, right? It's like, it's this moment where it's like, yeah, he was right. Like, he was right. He knew he's been right all along, and he's maybe the methods,
Right.
were, but like, and I think there's a special flavor, there's a special level to it when we're talking about immigrant parents, right? Immigrant fathers, right? My dad's father passed away when he was 3.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no manual, there was no handbook, there was no example, not even a bad example of, right, of how to raise us.
Yeah.
And but I'm just so appreciative of all his efforts. And going back to something that Keith said, when you hate your mom or you hate your dad, you hate yourself. And it's very interesting because growing up, there was a period of time between I was maybe 4 and 12 where my dad didn't come straight home from work on Friday evenings. He stayed out with the boys, right? So it was like clockwork. I knew that I wasn't going to see my dad until Saturday at 3 a.m. when he was coming home with some Tommy's burgers, waking us up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what that did is it made me feel a certain kind of way, right? I would look at mom and go like, wow, mom is by herself at home with the 3 kids.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I want to be supportive. And then now it's like I'm curious, right? And I think about he was the sole provider for the family. Right? Mom attempted to work. She wasn't comfortable. She didn't like the lady that she was working for. So my dad said, don't go to work. I'll take care of it. And so, yeah, he's out with the boys. But like, if you ask him now, he was freaked out. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make enough this week.
Mm-hmm. Stress relief.
Blowing off steam.
Yeah.
Stress relief. It was stress relief.
Yeah.
We just call it a happy hour, right?
So when I apply that sort of emotion, like, oh, he abandoned us on the weekends, right? Even though every Sunday we went somewhere in the summer, we were always at a beach, a lake, a park, camping, whatever. But I created this narrative, right? Oh, he was away all the time, left my mom alone, this and that, and it's like he was the sole provider. He was a sole provider. And on the strength of his efforts, got a house within 10 years of being in this country. And so it's like now I choose to uplift his accomplishments. And it's been a journey, like realizing all the different stages of my relationship with him.
Yeah.
Hey man, if I could offer this, I heard this, I agree with this, and I've repeated this. I'm gonna give it context after I say this, but we don't have the language for men as victims, and women as either criminals or oppressors or whatever word you want to say it, right? We similarly don't have that language for our fathers and for other men and for what they go through. And then we go through it. And by the time we figure out the language for it, it still doesn't get passed on.
Wait, I'm gonna tell you. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. I got my
no. As I'm listening to you, I mean, first of all, I could sit and shut up and listen to you guys' stories all night because I come from a different vantage point. But I think about the man that stepped in to raise me, which was my uncle. And funny enough, him and my father were great friends growing up. And my father taught him how to drive a car. And they were buddies because they grew up a block or two away from each other. And I didn't know any of this shit until I became a man. But he's misunderstood, and he's been misunderstood.
This is the time I think it's right to jump in. I'm going to tell you the reason for that. My philosophy, and it's summed up in this. If a woman, especially a pretty woman, is crying in public, somebody is going to say, why are you crying? Oh, come on, baby, don't do that. Oh, you're too pretty to be out here crying now. Or even if she's not cute, somebody is going to be like, ma'am, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Right? A man crying in public, women will be like, this motherfucker is a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Look at this bitch ass dude crying. No, this dude could have lost his mom, could have lost his whole family. You know what I'm saying? Could have lost his entire life savings, right? Nobody cares about the context or the why. They're just like, look at this motherfucker. Crying in public like a bitch, right?
Yeah.
So part of that is nobody cares. And the other part is like there used to be a notion that there's nobility in suffering and silence. So it's kind of like, man, listen, don't worry about it. Because nobody cares anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So hey Keith, let me give you something crazy. So I to this day, to the women that I've taken serious in my life that I've had these conversations with, I tell them men suffer in silence. We will vote with our feet, but you won't even know what he's thinking. He'll walk away. He won't say nothing. And you'll be like, damn. And then you start making up stuff in your head what happened.
Right.
And you have no idea what the real thing was. He voted with his feet. We are entering a generation where just a little bit of a man's experience is being said, whether it's on YouTube or a TikTok or something. And the backlash to us expressing ourselves. I was like, oh, so you want me to say how I feel, but within the guidelines of what you say I should feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching this play out, and I'm like, there needs to be spaces and places where men can talk to men.
Yeah.
Because we speak a whole separate language, man. We Klingons, like, it's a whole different thing that we're talking. And what's crazy is I don't care backgrounds, I don't care race, I don't care this, I don't care that. You could have 1,000 men on this call, and we're talking about fatherhood, manhood, and everybody just starts looking like a bobblehead.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
For sure.
Because this is man shit.
Yeah, man.
Hey, well, let me hop in and get Keith, because I know, Keith, you got to pivot in a second. So I'll give you, take the last words before you have to leave, and then we'll continue on. Any gems, in your reflections of your father and that whole relationship. Anything you want to leave us with?
Well, I will say this, man. I think because we talk a lot about fatherhood, and I think, like I said, I think in some ways being a father is to be misunderstood. But I will say that I don't know, man. You know what? I think that I kind of lost my thought, man, because I have so many thoughts on it. But I guess my biggest thing would be, man, that one of the things that we talked about that I'd like to leave people with is that there's a big generation gap now, because the definition of what it is to be a man has changed. And I know that one of the things that's kind of bothered me is that it's like everybody on this panel, is successful. And even if you're not successful, right, you have something to offer, this next generation. I do think that it's normal for young guys to just like you said, David, he don't know what he's talking about, right? But, after talking with Bob and I talked with JT about this too, it's on us, to go out of our way to tell these young dudes, hey, man, especially the ones that are close to us, hey, man, you fucking up. Hey, man, you need to do this. Hey, man, you need to do that. Regardless of whether they think we're the old head or whether they think we don't know what the fuck we talking about. Because I didn't think my dad knew what the fuck he was talking about either, And it turns out 10, 20, 30 years later, I'm like, damn, not only did he know this, talking, this dude's a fucking genius. So it's like, I think we have to accept, it's not fair, but I think we have to accept not being understood. We have to accept that maybe our kids won't appreciate us until after we're gone, or younger people, because it's like, hey man, like, think about Mozart and there's some filmmakers out there, some pieces of work. It's like artwork, right? Some of the greatest artwork was like, man, it's a piece of shit. 100 years later, people are like, damn, this is genius. So it's like, and it's sad because it's like everybody wants their flowers, and we should get our flowers, but also think that maybe part of fatherhood is just accepting that, hey man, like, we're here to dispense advice and provide direction, regardless of whether it's appreciated during our lifetime or not.
Hey, Keith, before you go, hold on, Rob, real quick. Keith, before you go, let me just share something with you. I want to thank you for sharing your father with us.
Yeah.
You didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah.
But it meant a lot to me personally. Because of my background and my history with my dad, through guys like you and Leland and Rob and other guys, I've seen what fathers could and should be. And I've kind of like modeled, I've etched a sketch my way to being a dad, and to see men that I respect and that I care about and how they honor the other men in their lives and their fathers, that helps me, gives me perspective. And you didn't know that I was learning from you. When you put that picture up with your dad with the brim on, with the suit, and he was clean, and I was like, man, that's all right there. I was like, man, and so my thing was like, the way you guys feel about your dads is how I want my son to feel about me. And so me and my son have had some tussles. Old school words, some tussles. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I want his respect, and I want him to honor me. And that's what I hear these stories over and over again from men I respect. And he'd be like, yeah, we had our fights and we had this, but at the end of the day, I honor and I respect them. Yeah. That's manhood talk.
Yeah.
And so I just want to thank you publicly and out loud and let you know I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man. You know what's funny, man? Just as kind of a footnote, for those that remember my dad, I would come around, I'd bring my fans and friends over, and he would, just sit down and chop it up with us, man. And so he would be happy to hear that, because he was willing to give advice to anybody who would listen, for better or for worse. But he genuinely had a joy in like dispensing life game, especially to young people who would listen, men and women, so like that I get emotional hearing that, because it's like I know that he would appreciate that, because it's like he's serving as even in death, he's serving as an example and serving to dispense something in one way, shape, or form, man. So I can tell you with 100% confidence, man, that he would appreciate that, man, for real.
So, David,
I was gonna say, Keith, before you go, again, thank you for sharing, and something that you said about, getting your flowers, when you're given the wisdom. And I think the appreciation and the expression of gratitude from our kids is a luxury.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the flowers is, we give, if we have the opportunity to pass on the knowledge, whether they want to hear it or not, that's our goal. Like to have a database of information to be able to pass on. And it's one of those things, man, where, not everybody is going to have that opportunity to tell their pops down the road, man, you were right. Not everybody's going to have that opportunity. And so we have to realize for ourselves, like, we did what we could. We gave the information that we had. We had the tough conversations that we needed to have. And that's, so I'm just, all I'm saying, I say all that to say, let's flip the narrative on what giving flowers is, right? And it's not, Dad, you were right. Like, that's a luxury. That's great. That's great. But that's a bar that sometimes can't be met for whatever reason, for a variety of reasons. But we have to know that we did the best that we could to pass on the knowledge, and that has to make us, feel good about that. That's our flowers.
Yeah. You know what? It's like I keep saying, it's my last thing. I think the toughest part is not knowing if you're gonna be around to see them, to watch, to know whether they take your advice, or not, and then especially the reward of seeing them bloom. That's probably the toughest part, because it's like, like if you fix somebody's car for them, you can see them drive the car out, right? Forget payment, right? You get the satisfaction, like, man, I helped this person. Whatever your profession is, there's like an immediate gratification of seeing that you did your job, and I think that's probably, aside from getting the flowers, is like, like, for example, you guys dads, and I'm talking to Miguel, David, and Bob, they got a chance to see, man, like, my son's doing all right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my son is, and I had a part in that. I had a part in my son, or I had a big part, like the pride of just seeing, like, man, like, you know what? Maybe I might have done it a little bit different than he did it. But, and so I think that's probably the toughest part, is like not getting your flowers, and then not, in some cases, not getting a chance to see, like, because sometimes, man, when does it take root, right? Sometimes it doesn't take root until, these kids turn 30 or 40, or 42, because it's like you have to walk in these shoes to see things through the lenses that they see, that they saw things through. To go back to your example, David, like, it's not until you feeling some financial pressure that you like, hey, man, I'm going to stay out tonight, man. I'm not going home. Like, bro, I just, it's too much. I got too much on my mind. I'm like, just let me stay out tonight, and then it hits you like, oh, damn, like that's what Pops is doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's almost like one of those time travel movies, man. Like, you have to experience it, and before you know it, you're walking in the same shoes of the person that you thought was the bad guy. So it's like, it's dealing with all of that, man. It's like, to your point, it's like you can't see your dad's vantage point on things until you walk in those shoes. And it's like, you don't walk in those shoes sometimes until decades later, man. You know, so it's like, being a father is to be misunderstood, to not get your flowers, and to not know. But it's like, But yeah, you're right. It's a different form of selflessness.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, listen, man, whether you thank me for it or not, or whether you appreciate it, or even whether you understand it, like, I'm going to tell you. And one day, I may not even be here to see it, but one day you'll hopefully get it and appreciate me for it, even if I'm not here anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Go ahead, Miguel.
I think that's
I see
no,
you. I see you. Go ahead.
no. I just want
Go
to say I
ahead.
think that's why it's so important as men. We thank each other and appreciate each other
That part.
Yes, sir.
because the cycle. We won't hear thank you from where we think we're gonna hear from.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm so grateful to you guys just for this conversation, and I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead, Miguel.
Sorry, I just want to jump in. I've been playing that Rocky Balboa Sunshine and Rainbows part from the movie.
Yeah.
And my kids sit there and look at it, and they can say the parts already, they can recite it, and they love the Sunshine and Rainbows. And that's how women is done. The funny part is I don't think they're gonna get it until later.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's one of those gems that I hope that they take it and run with it, and later on in life, just like, you know, like an Easter egg, they'll finally be able to listen to it and go, oh, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this is dope. I think back of all, like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's things that we gotta leave behind, right? Like, we gotta upgrade how our fathers were thinking on some things. So I'm not
for sure.
going to idealize all sorts of stuff, but I think it's part of that process that we go through and delve into those experiences, those life experiences, and why it was right at the time, and it may not be right, or it may not be the best way to go. I think one of the things that I'll say, my father would never really compliment directly, right? But I go in and he was still playing soccer as he was still older, but I go and watch him play soccer, and his friends would be like, "Oh, your pops was telling me about you. You guys you're doing great." Da, da, da.
Yeah.
Really? He was telling you that?
Who is this?
He didn't want to
my
dad.
I think, as David says, man, give the man his flowers now, but also, let the kids know too. It's a two-way street. I think that's part of that normalizing that beautiful connection and relationship that parents or fathers have with their children, and agreed in different ways, men, daughters, sons and daughters, but similarly communicate that and let them know, I think that's one of the best parts of just being around with the little ones right now, is just like how much they want to hang out with me, and how much, there's so many other things I could be doing, but they just want to hang out with me, and I'm with it, but I think part of that was getting a lot of the, other stuff out. Had my time. Now it's time for them,
Yeah. Well,
Miguel, let me just offer you this. Two things. Number one, my youngest, my daughter, she's a freshman in college. And I put her in the dorms and doing everything. And I said, hey, I just need you to do something for your father. I know you're gonna have fun. I know you're gonna be doing whatever. Once a week, check in with your dad. Text, call, just communicate with me, right?
Holla back, youngin.
Nice.
We have, and 4 to 5 times a week, she texts me or calls me, and we talk.
that's great, man.
Dope.
That is truly cool.
And I cannot tell you how much that's filled my spirit. That I didn't put no pressure like that. I said, hey, just once a week, and it's her choice to do that.
That's beautiful.
And so, like you said, you got 3 and 5. Like what you're putting in them and pouring into them, you don't know what it's going to turn out to be.
Yeah.
And it may not look like my story, but your story is going to be yours. It may be, hey man, my oldest, my son, who's now engaged, told me like, he told me, we're going to get married and we're going to pay for it. Nobody's going to tell us what to do and how to do it. That's why we're going to be engaged for 2 years, because we have a financial plan. And I had told him that shit when he was 15 years old. And he had not listened to shit from 15 to 23. And I was like, that's the shit you heard?
That's new info.
I mean, I think, just to, it's funny, man, because I think that's the scary thing about being a parent, right? It's like, I remember one time, man, because my dad was definitely not perfect. I'll never forget this. When my parents split up and my mother left the house, my dad said, you want to stay here with me or you want to go with your mom and be a bitch? My boss was hard, like hard. So he definitely was not perfect, So, and it's funny because it's like that shit is still so vivid in my mind. I also can, when I'm frustrated to a certain point and I just let it fly, I can say some fucked up shit too, and it's like it just rolls off my tongue. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he probably forgot about that shit like a couple days later, but I'm much older now and it's like it still resonates in my head, and so it's like you never know, positive or negative, what kids are going to hang on to, which is scary, but it can also be enlightening too, because like I think about encouragement and little things. My dad didn't give me a lot of compliments either. I was always fucking up. I was always, you ain't, not nothing negative like you ain't shit, but like you need to be doing this. I'm like, my shit I'm doing now. Like, damn, give me some fucking love for once. So the other part of it is, to Miguel's point, is like, yeah, I mean, we can improve. And JT, man, you are an improvement over the relationship that you have with your dad. So it's like the other part of that is like improving. Like,
yeah,
my dad would tell me that he loved me only if he was like depressed. You know what I'm saying? It was never just like, hey, son, I just want to tell you I'm proud of you. You're doing a good. I never got that shit. It was like, son, I'm tell you right now, man, you fucking up. You ain't doing this. It's like, all right, yeah, I know. So improving on that and being better men. Using the things that we know, because I feel like you learn positive lessons and negative lessons from your parents. I want to be like them with this. I want to be the fucking polar opposite of this mother when it comes to this, But either way, they still your teachers.
Yeah, I think you said something key. Like we've been talking about the flowers for the fathers, but the flip side is like, you just said it. What was the flowers from our fathers?
Yeah.
Right.
Flowers for your kids. Yeah, man.
So my arc and relationship with my dad, I'll just sprinkle this in, is in the middle of JT and David, right? Right. And so, saw him, my folks saw him in the summers, so just straight up time together in the summers, all my life. And then now, at this point, being a caregiver, at 80. So, we the only two guys on here with our dads around. It's crazy, 80 and 83. And it's like they're in their 80s and they act like they're 8. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. And the other thing is, I remember, our dads are just different. That generation is different, right? So I remember, getting into organizing, and I think I was at my second spot where I was organizing. And he was like, "Man, you kind of changing jobs kind of often, right?" It was like, dude, them 25 years you spent at Edison, you know what I'm saying? Them jobs don't exist like that no more,
Right.
And if I didn't come home with dirt under my nails, I wasn't working. You know what I mean? So that was a whole nother thing. Like, yeah, okay, you working, whatever, dog. even to this day, right? We would talk. I was walking him the other day. I was not walking him like a dog or nothing like that, but just walking, exercise. And he was like, "What's new?" I was like, "I'm just working." And he was like, "Huh? Yeah, it seems to be a lot of work lately." You know,
and he like
sarcastically, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, okay, it's all good. And the last thing I'll say on this one is, I remember when I had left Cadre, and the year after I left, their fundraiser, they honored me, right? And so it was just cool to have people I worked with over the previous 15, 16, 17 years, in the room talking about the stuff that I've been a part of. And, to this day, possibly, I don't know what this dude do. Yeah, we here, y'all giving them award. I got awards from the county. I got all kind of awards in the room where he get an eye view of him, right? He can touch it. And he don't know what the hell I do, right? So it's like, how can he give me flowers for interest he never takes in what I do? You know what I'm saying? And never ask questions about, well, what is that you do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's I think that's another piece of it. I don't know, Davi, how much your dad asked about what you do, or he just say, at one point he was like, "Oh, my son is a director of a UCLA. That's all I need to know, baby." So I'll just add that to the convo.
It's funny. It's funny because through college, right? What you mean you're only taking 3 classes? In high school, you had 6 periods. What are you talking about? 2 classes, 3 classes, and then Latin American studies. What do you mean? You're studying us? Like what? Huh? So they were perplexed and confused. My dad's mantra growing up was always, "I want you to go to college so you can get a job, so you don't have to suffer like I'm suffering in my job." And that was just his bar, right? And I think once I got to college, the conversation was like, what I tried to get him to understand was, I'll have different challenges. I'll have different challenges. I'll have different, issues, but there's still going to be issues. Like my dad had this concept, like, you go to college, you get a job, you're in the clear, right? And it's like, because his issues that he faced was at a different class level, at a different educational level, right? Like he thought, you won't face racism because you're going to have a higher, you'll have a career and you'll have a degree and this and that. And I always would tell him, like, no, that it's going to be at a different level, something that you won't be able to relate to. So some of the trials and tribulations that I've experienced, in my career, he's been surprised by, right? Because he never would have thought, because like, you went to college, you did everything right. Like it should have been smooth sailing. So, but yeah, he didn't need to know exactly what I was doing. His thing was like, you went to UCLA and now you work for UCLA and now you work for another university. Like you're good. And it's like,
right.
No, which I'll put a pin in this, which then created a little bit of pressure on me. Because when my financial aid didn't kick in, or when I was on academic probation at UCLA, like I couldn't tell my parents, I couldn't tell my dad. Right. So just like my dad not knowing if he was going to have enough to pay rent and groceries for that following week, and that made him stay out, like I had the pressure of keeping my secrets to myself about the precarious situation that I was experiencing my freshman year in college was crazy. You know, and so it's like our fathers carry pieces and hold pieces, but as sons, we also carry secrets and pieces because we don't want them to worry.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll add one more thing to that, man. I got to roll a little bit, but one more thing to that, which to me is kind of like the natural progression. You know, each generation has its own version of what we think like a good job is, or financial stability, or values, or whatever it is, right? I mean, I think values stay pretty much the same, but they fluctuate a little bit. And then another generation comes along and things change. You know, like I remember, man, you know, same thing. My mom, who was a kindergarten teacher, my dad was a pipe fitter. They're like, man, you're going to go to college and then you're good. You know? And then I graduated college. I was like, I am not good. You know? So, you know, and then I think about like, you know, I love watching like some of these like cooking shows like Top Chef and stuff like that, right? Because one of the most interesting things about that, depending on the family that they're from, they're like, yeah, my parents thought I was a failure, like when I went to culinary school. And it's like, damn, you like on TV, you're, you know, celebrity chef and all this, but it's like because it's outside of their sphere of knowledge, they're like, this motherfucker. You know, like,
yeah,
you know,
explain organizing and coaching, bro.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's like but the flip side of that is, as a parent, when your kids on something you like, man, this motherfucker doing this. I don't know what the hell he doing. Like he doing this bullshit. Right? That's what I mean by like things coming full circle. It's like now we've become the fathers, you know, who are like, oh man, you doing that old bullshit, you know. So it's like the other part of it is just like leading, you know, looking forward is like being open-minded enough to think like, you know what, man, like, hey man, you know, maybe doing something that I just can't wrap my mind around, man, but I'm gonna appreciate him anyway. You know, I'm gonna support him anyway. I'm gonna try to, you know, to understand. And to your point, I'm gonna give him his flowers. You know, I'll give her flowers, because it's like, hey man, I don't have all the answers, man. You know, and being open-minded enough as a parent to be willing to say, hey man, like, you know, like my son took a different route that I would have taken, or my daughter took a different route that I would have taken. But man, I love them and respect them, like regardless. And that can also be a challenge, because sometimes we can get so narrow-minded and like, wait, man, like you need to be out there working a blue-collar job. You know, you need to be getting your fingernails dirty, like Bob said. You know, so it's like if they wind up doing something different than what you envisioned for them, like still being, you know, supportive and accepting of that.
Hey, real quick, do you get credit for the kids? Because we said this, right? So earlier we were talking about, hey, you know, hey, congrats, JT.
No.
Go ahead.
No. You don't get no credit for your kids.
Okay.
If they,
I don't get no credit for
stop it.
Young man being
Cut it off. Shut it down. That's a bullshit question. We know we don't.
I know it was. I'm just throwing it out.
If he make it to NFL, NBA, law school, whatever, good job, mom. If he's selling crack or in jail, you know he didn't have a father. So let's stop right now.
Well, now you know what I think. I think you get credit as a unit, but not as an individual. Ooh. They'll say, "Oh, no. Your parents."
So let me say this. I'm gonna answer your question, Keith, and then I got something else to say. I knew this early on, and I was married a while ago. I've been divorced now for
Yep.
16 years.
15? Okay, 16.
16 years. Even if we were splitting the mortgage 50-50, if we would have lost the house,
Oh yeah.
the word on the street was, JT lost that
JT
house.
lost the house.
So it just is what it is. There's a burden of performance on men. My mother used to say to me, every woman is independent until the bill comes, and then she wants a gentleman.
Well,
and that's my mother telling me that. but the thing that I want to say to you guys is, again, first of all, I appreciate you guys sharing. Like, these are things that we don't hear, that men don't hear. Our stories are just undertold.
Mm-hmm.
On the back half of it is that I just want to share with you guys so you understand, or maybe you hear it, the opposite side of what you experienced, and that every story you've told about your father, I don't have any of it. Good, bad, or indifferent. Everything you've told and said to me is a dream. You men are my vision of fatherhood until I became a father. And it wasn't until I got to college and then I got with my guys and we really just bonded, and and then I met their dads and they would tell, and I was like, oh, this is what this shit is like. And then I like connected with everybody's families. Cause I was like, oh, this is the shit, right? I could understand the mom, the guy with the single mom. Of course, that's my shit. And then the guy with the dad, I was like, oh, hey, pops.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have, and the fish is the last one to know it's in water. Of course, I know that. Now I know that. But I'm just offering this up as a different perspective. It's like, you have no idea how valuable all of you guys' words are to a kid like me that grew up to be a man like me. And I'm gonna get back to talking my bullshit and telling jokes.
I appreciate
Got this
that,
deep, JT.
Yeah, but
I appreciate that.
Yeah, but this is just honestly and truthfully, like the ultimate respect to what you guys have gone through and what you choose to share, because so many people just keep it inside.
Yeah. Hey, I know. Real quick, I know, Miguel, you got to pivot too, and I remember one of the first projects that you and I worked on, Bridges to Fatherhood, man. You know what I'm saying? This is before you were even my father. You told us, Jenny was pregnant, in one of the meetings. You know what I'm saying? So just to already, get that, you already had that yearning for that connection and that different, just the gems that brothers was dropping in the room. And what was the brother in the room that he had like 1,000 kids or something? How many kids he had? He had like 20-something kids. Seemed like 15.
Lester.
He had a bunch of kids. Lester had a bunch of kids, bro. But yeah, so before you pivot out, man, you know, just thinking about the lessons. My uncle and JT has been an example is this too. My uncle never met his father. That influenced him to be a different kind of father, right? And so whether our dads were in our lives or not, they still had some sort of influence in some way. And so, you know, just on your pivot out, Miguel, just share some of your insights to, you know, some of the things you doing differently or you know, or adding to your definition of fatherhood from your dad.
Yeah, man. So the opportunity we had with a group of men we brought together, they named their own group. It was called Bridges to Fatherhood, and these were folks from Watts, Willowbrook, Compton, the surrounding areas, Black and Latino men who, by and large, either were not really, most of them didn't have a strong or present father figure, and they themselves have been fathers, and many of them didn't have relationships with their kids until later on in life because of incarceration, because of different circumstances. And really, those conversations were crucial in my understanding of the role and the importance of, and not so much just the role, because I understood it from my own experience, having had my father. I think what did change is it's not just enough to be present. I mean, it's not just enough to be there. You have to be present. You have to be engaged. You have to be part of it. And you know, I had the wonderful vantage point of hearing from these men, you know, go through the emotions of, you know, they were there, or they were around, or they were locked up, or they were, you know, all these issues, all these mistakes, and still be okay later on in their lives and try to be good people and be good fathers, or reconnect with those now adult children. You know, I understand that it's difficult. It's difficult with whether you marry Miss Right or you marry Miss Wrong, or you know, you just have kids with whoever you have kids with. This parenting stuff is difficult, and so I think it's a great forum in which men can come together. There was no real sets or strict agenda. I think the way we did it was just, we had stuff to get off our chest. People would bring it up, start riffing on that. But there was also a service component to it, right? I think a lot of times in communities, men don't want to get involved because it's just a lot of talking. So what we did was we started going to, we did a community cleanup, and men really got behind that. Later on, we did like a festival or a summer party for the kids. Fathers were all over that, helping out in all the activities, but also going to conferences and going to do presentations or doing stuff for folks who are homeless. I think men got a lot out of those experiences. And again, I was able to see it in it was right when I was starting my fatherhood journey, getting married, then having a child 6 years ago now. And so it was just a beautiful time in my life. Unfortunately, the pandemic came really, you know, the group really didn't survive the transition to Zoom. The technology was a little bit unfamiliar to a lot of folks, and just we lost the connection. But you know, I think it's a worthwhile endeavor, whether it's formal or informal, to have these conversations with other men, just because there's so many things I mean, as we get older, there's health issues. There's things that I didn't want to talk about even with my closest boys over here, and come to find out they all been through those medical things that you start to go through as you get older. And so I think it's important. It's important to be able to have those conversations. So you learn from others, and you take what you can, and you learn from their experiences. So thank you guys so much for this beautiful conversation. I'm glad I had a chance to be part of it. Time to put these kids to bed.
Yeah, go ahead, man. This is the first of many, man. This won't be
three and 5, man. You listen. First of all, you. I'm 18 and 28. They just asked for money.
The best lesson I learned was go to sleep around the same time as they do, because then you get more sleep hours.
Good point.
Hey, listen, Miguel, I'll tell you this because my son's old enough. We had this conversation because I had my son in college, and I told him about 3 years ago. I said, man, if I would have known your mother's pussy was a 30-year adjustable mortgage. I said, boy, we would have talked about that.
I hope he took it well.
I've been his father his whole life. He understands.
What's up, man? All right, Joe. Have a good night.
Yeah, I gotta get out.
All right, good night, Miguel.
Appreciate y'all, man. Much love, y'all.
All right, Miguel. All right, Keith.
Thanks, man.
30-year adjustable, huh?
If we can't laugh out loud, shit. It's the truth. I didn't know what I was getting into. Hell,
For sure.
I was just getting into her.
That's a good point. A very good point.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. So man, I've enjoyed this. I mean, we can kind of wind it down, really. The pieces and the places where I thought that that came up that I asked questions. It came up naturally about giving, what does that mean to not get your flowers as a father, right? What does that mean to the methodology of being a dad, right? Like David said, there's no manual. There's no training that you can go. And what we didn't get into is the definition of dad, right? I think one thing that we, especially, I guess all generations, I was going to say our generation because that's we're experiencing it. I guess all generations experience on, again, from the child side, from the son side, what do we want our dads to be? And what is that based on, right? Is that based on we're looking at other families and, oh, they do that and that looks fun. I'd rather be like that. And I'd rather my household be like that. I'd rather my dad engage me like that. I think that's a lot of that goes into it. Our expectations, right? I always said the gap between expectation and reality is disappointment. So we have these crazy expectations of our parents and our dads that we can't put a finger on where they came from, and then when they don't meet them, then we're disappointed, and then we walk around with that disappointment of a dad that he ain't have nothing. He had no knowledge of this expectation that you had of him. So anyway, so that was that definition we really didn't get into, but hey, we got time.
Yeah, it's funny as I hear you say that, for me, it was kind of like the opposite. For me, it was like the expectation I placed on myself based on the example from my father. Like,
but you also expected him to be different, right? Like we talking about him not coming home on Fridays. Well, I expect him to come home on Fridays and help mom. That was your expectation. He was just trying to get a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
hey, and figure out, man, how I'm gonna get this rent next week.
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of for me, it's like, well, like I don't know how to fix cars like that. I don't know. I use a paper clip for paper and a rubber band to bind things, and then that's about it. I can't put them together to create, a water pump, and feeling a certain kind of way because I was not able to do that. Right. So there's a flip side to that for me anyway.
Oh, same here. Same here.
You know?
I got the same type of dad. So
Like,
yeah.
The yard, like he's my backyard doesn't look like his backyard in terms of like, corn and apples and all that kind of stuff, right? It's like, but there's an expectation, right? So it's like, how do you navigate all that? Like being okay with yourself, right? Because you're selectively, right? You're selectively picking and choosing what you're admiring about your father and what you kind of want to like cast out, right? And so number one, why do we do that? And number two, how do we go about doing that? Like, how do we make those choices?
Yeah. Two things. First thing is on the flip side of our own expectations. I know, like, if it's something, we put together some furniture, we can do some stuff around the room, the mini stuff. But when the washing machine went out, it was like Home Depot, baby. My dad would have been, trying to figure out, he'd have took it all apart to try to see what was wrong. I'm like, nah, that's not me. We're gonna go to Home Depot and get a new one. and so it's like, you're right. What do we pick and choose as far as expectation for them and for us? Like, what are we connecting to those parts of them? Man, Keith said it, right? We can't not love or appreciate them without not loving and appreciate ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Cool. Let's say last words, last thoughts.
I think for me, like I think I said, like at the top, I am blessed with the opportunity to give my dad the luxury of honoring him while he's alive and kicking and of sound mind, right? To be able to sit him down on the front porch the other day and say, you know what? If I haven't said it recently, I'm telling you now that I appreciate all the sacrifices that you've made for our family. Like, your sacrifice changed the direction, the course of our family history. And we're all better for it. Dope. He didn't know what to say.
Dope.
So
that's dope. Yeah. CT.
I'll say this. I used to say my dad was in the witness protection program. And he was somewhere mowing the lawn in Nebraska, some shit. But I would like to honor my father and saying that I am his oldest son. JT is actually James Towns Jr. And I would like to thank him for the lessons that he gave me, even though he didn't mean to. Because that's God's will and that's how it works. The intentions of his spirit were greater than the intentions of his flesh.
Wow.
And I know he didn't mean nothing by it. It just took me 50 years to get there. That is, that sounds good when I say it about my daddy, but it don't sound too good when I say it about them side bitches. But anyway, don't worry about that.
Hey, thank you for pulling us out of the depth of the ocean, bro. We
Yeah,
Yeah,
had
that's
us
what I'm
there.
saying. I'm bringing back. I'm bringing back. I'm bringing back.
You
you know,
had us there.
I was waiting for it. I was like, there it is.
Yeah, you know.
Pulled us out the water. Thank you.
Yeah, nothing like we not gonna stay there. He didn't hit the second shit. He came late.
Right.
If you had heard that, you'd have knew I was still me.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
I'll say in closing for this chapter of this conversation is just like I get a chance to be in living with my dad the past couple of years is and really getting to know more of his backstory. Went to a family reunion in July and having more conversations with my cousin, my first cousin. So getting to know more about my grandfather and my dad's side of the family, and kind of piecing it together about who he is and what's underneath how he acts the way he does. And giving him grace and giving him the space to just be him without the expectations of a 12-year-old son that's looking for the acknowledgement, and putting him on his pedestal, just letting us be two men in a room, just engaging has been cathartic for me, and definitely, probably just less anxious about being around me for him. Like, hey, this cat don't be pressing me like he used to, so he probably dig it. So
Yeah.
So with that being said, hey, thank you guys. Big ups to
Hey, wait a minute, hold up.
Dio. Go ahead.
Before you do
Go ahead.
that, I don't know the meaning of the word cathartic, but that's beside the point. The second thing I want to say is I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to the antenna leg women, and y'all don't know what that is. When you lift a leg, the channel change on the TV.
That's a shout out you
They,
want to leave with.
yeah, I want to
That's a
give a
shout
shout
out.
out to them because they have got me through my life for the last 35 years.
Oh man.
And then
And with
the
that,
last thing, as I get older, I want to say that
oh
um,
my goodness,
I don't think that older women pay enough attention to their hoofs.
they should.
And these little sugarfoot women, and them heels is dusty. And how you from the city, but your foot look like you been riding on the trail. I don't
Like two
understand how
hips.
we gonna be in a relationship. Well, one last thing before we go, because I was feeling a little sentimental tonight, but now I'm feeling like myself. I was I was at a relative's house, or say relative, keep it broad, and my relative's friend was hitting on me. And I was looking at her, and she wasn't a bad looking woman. She was just an older woman, and I'm old. And she older than me. That makes her real old. And she was like, "You don't know what kind of fun we could have." And I said, "I don't want no civil rights pussy. Lunch counter in Selma. Me and you. You mustard, I'm ketchup. It's not going to work. That's not my story." All right.
That went off. That went off the rails. That went off the rails a little
No,
bit
no,
there.
no, no. It ain't. No, it was on the rails. Go ahead. Bring us home, Rob. Bring us home.
Bring us on. Hey, big ups to Dio behind the boards, Dio and Mary. Big ups to all who came in. Hey, like, share, subscribe. Skinny Blacks Lounge, SBL. Check us out on TikTok, XB Skinny Black 007 SBL _ host on Instagram. Hey, listen, you can drop $5, $10, $15, $50, or $500 to help us do some upgrades and keep these subscriptions going. That helps. Shout out to Talent Twine Watches. You know what I'm saying? Rocking the Aviator, the Tuskegee Airman tonight. Shout out to the Gathering Spot LA. Love those cats over there. We would love to. The plan is we got some things in motion to take this conversation to the Gathering Spot. So that would be great to do this live and in person. Did I say shout out to Dio? Big ups to my man Dio on the boards, man, and big ups to you guys for coming in and sharing your story, sharing your reflections, sharing your thoughts and memories and experiences with your dads, and the impact of not having that, JT. And bro, for someone who didn't have the number, would say the number of experiences with our dads, bro, your reflections about him and his impact on you really like moved this conversation. I appreciate you. So with that being said,
thank you.
We out. So it's up to Dio to end the stream.